police brutality. The credo of the Queensland Police Force is, with honour we serve. But what happens when the people we trust to uphold the law are the ones breaking it? Damien Hansen has this report.
I honestly thought I was going to die.
I thought I was going to die.
In uniform and on duty, Queensland police officers applying their own brand of justice.
I tell you, that's the most terrifying phone call a father could ever have, because I thought my son was being killed.
Ian Lyons won't forget the night he and his sons were beaten by the police.
They're brutes with uniforms.
Ian was home asleep, received a distraught phone call from his son saying he and his friends had been bashed by police.
The young guy by the name of Matthew came over to me, big, solid guy. He was holding his left arm. He'd been crying, he looked bewildered, and I said, mate, what's happened to you? And he said, I think they broke my arm. I said, who? He said, the police.
Ian called an ambulance. This is the 000 recording.
He is conscious, he's in severe pain.
Yeah,
he's actually been bashed by police, mate, and they've just taken off.
This CCTV shows police arresting the boys. Ian, who has no criminal record, then enters the Surfers Paradise Police Beat looking for his sons. Once inside, he took this photo of the officers as he remains on the phone to the ambulance.
You recording this, sir?
This?
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, this is all recorded.
The audio you can hear is police demanding to see Ian's ID.
I will.
Directing you now to produce identification.
He continues with the call.
I'm on a
You there?
And that's when police turn on him. Ian hasn't had anything to drink and he's not violent.
The place. That's the ambulance here. How are you?
Next thing I know, I've got a hand up my throat. I'm up against a wall. I've still got my camera in my hand. I've got the phone in the other hand. I'm like this up, and all I could say was, I can't breathe.
Another officer takes Ian's phone.
You there? Hello?
I see, the police here.
Yeah. Who is it?
The police.
Watch now as Ian is dragged on his face and by the leg behind the counter.
I've looked up and I said, what have I done? And one of the officers grabbed me by the arm and just pushed me back down into the concrete again. I said, we'll think of something.
Ian's then taken to another section of the station where his sons are being held. When they're released hours later, all are bloodied and bruised.
The scum. Absolute scum.
Both charges of disobeying a lawful direction and obstructing police were dropped, and he was paid compensation by the Queensland government.
Everybody in that police station saw that night and they should have done something.
But Ian's case isn't a one-off. Same police station, same officer, Senior Constable Stephen Flanagan. Different night and different victim.
I got dragged into the bathroom by these three guys, and they're top to bottom mirrors in the bathrooms, and I could see my feet dangling off the ground, and I thought I was going to die.
This man was taken to the Surfers Paradise Police Post for drink driving after he supposedly blew .05. He was never convicted, but he was punished for asking how long the process would take.
And a guy came over pointing his finger in my face with cut-off fingered gloves and said to me, he said, shut up, mate, or you'll get it.
And he did.
A couple of busted eyes, mouth was busted, my nose was not broken, but it was, it was bent out of shape.
He too reached a confidential, taxpayer-funded settlement. Then this. Same police station, same excessive force. Watch as this police officer slams this 19-year-old into the floor. His crime, he allegedly refused to remove his socks. He's handcuffed and attempts to take off his socks with his feet when the officer loses patience. These incidents were recorded on tape, but many aren't.
The police know where those blind spots are, and that's where they're carrying out their illegal, wanton, unprovoked and often quite violent assaults.
Civil libertarian Terry O'Gorman says convincing people to take action against police officers is often difficult.
When the criminal defence lawyer says, well, let's do something about it, let's make a complaint, they say, no, we don't want to do that because police know where we live, they know where our family lives, we'll be subject to victimisation.
No one's saying policing is easy, far from it. And most people would argue that police are underpaid in proportion to the dangers they face in everyday duty. It is a tough job, that we know. But what we don't know is exactly how much taxpayers' money is being given to victims of police assaults in secret, out-of-court settlements.
I know there are increasing number of out-of-court settlements where the police are paying out for excessive violence that police officers have meted out on civilians.
Concern over police using excessive force is now coming from insiders.
I heard yell out, "I'll give you a doctor."
This from a former Gold Coast detective in a recent submission to the state's Crime and Misconduct Commission.
I then saw in the monitor kick the elderly male person and then punch him with a right clenched fist in the chest. When I saw him being assaulted, he was lying on the floor and not a threat to anyone.
Another Queensland watch house and more rough justice. This time, a 35-year-old taxi passenger is brought here to the Fortitude Valley Police Station because he's lost his wallet and can't pay his fare. He's intoxicated but not violent. He leaves several hours later with a broken tooth and a busted face. When it goes to court, the magistrate clears him of fare evasion and awards him costs. In May last year, Senior Constable Ben Price allegedly kicked and punched a handcuffed tourist until he was unconscious. It's alleged he then jammed a fire hose into his mouth before turning it on for a minute and a half.
I would lose sleep at night wondering, when somebody was actually going to die.
Ian Birchley blew the whistle on fellow officers he says were picking fights with drunken offenders in custody. The former senior constable recalls vividly the time he spent working in Brisbane's inner city.
I referred to the Adelaide City beat as the Abu Ghraib on Adelaide. That was the way I felt about it. So I became very fearful, really, that somebody were going to soon die.
In a written statement, the Queensland Police Service acknowledged payments have been made to both Mr Davies and Mr Lyons, but claims civil court settlements are not admissions of liability. It also confirms Senior Constable Flanagan was transferred from the Gold Coast, and almost 3.5 years on, no determination has been made in respect to disciplinary action.
They put up with a lot of rubbish, but so do the doctors and nurses in the ER, and they don't kill the next patient because the last patient gave them a hard time.
What the QPS is doing is paying out money and just hoping that the problem will go away. It's not, it's getting worse.
That's Damien Hansen with that investigation. All right, let's change the